TNT.
Halftime in Minnesota, and the Spurs were up by as much as 29 in the first half, but the Timberwolves, they refused to go away, outscored the Spurs 34-18 to close the half. Welcome on in. I'm Taylor Rooks with Dirk, Steve, BG, and UD. Timberwolves are fighting. They are fighting. It's an uphill battle, but what did you see from both teams to close the half, Dirk?
It was ugly there for the Wolves, especially at the beginning of the second. And I thought Shannon Jr. gave them a huge spark, really attacking. They used when Wemby got to the bench, they made a big run, and it really set their tone for their aggressiveness, getting downhill, and then joined the party and got in. They trapped and a little bit. They started the mixer, moved the ball well, made some shots, and now's Reed's been spectacular. So saying all that, this could have been really ugly, and they kind of saved it with stepping up their aggression, getting downhill, and making some shots.
Yeah, I thought for the Spurs, obviously, it was a fantastic start. Their guards got downhill, got to the rim. They felt like they got everything easy. And a few turnovers, few offensive rebounds, second chance points that Minnesota got them back into the game. But overall, they did a great job of staying poised. They were in the bonus. They got to the free throw line, hit some shots. This has sort of been the theme. San Antonio's gotten up, and they've let Minnesota back in the game. So coming out of the second half, they need to be aggressive, get back to stretching out Minnesota's defense, getting to the paint.
Yeah, the Spurs took just 9 shots over the last 7 minutes of the half. Minnesota took 24. But, Steve, what are you seeing from Minnesota defensively, or what do you want to see from them?
Well, if Minnesota wants to go to a Game 7, they can't give up 74 points at home in the second half. They gave up 18 rim attempts. San Antonio, that's 14 of 18 at the rim, 8 of 8 from their guards. That's just too easy. And I think that just breaks down their defense. So they got to do a much better job, I think, building a wall in transition and coming off shooters a little bit. You know, they just can't let these guys get to the backboard and lay it in. It's just way too easy. They're too proficient at it. They got big physical guards who are quick as well, get downhill. Too many mistakes like in this one. They're switching, we're not switching. But this is just a recipe for disaster because all those rim attempts, that's the highest value shot we have in our game, and they got way too many of them.
And I just continue to be impressed with the maturity of the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, if you've been in a 7-game series, you know, and these guys know, this is how you wear on a team and impose your will and break a team down to where you get in that closeout game and you just watch them slowly break. And it's gratifying as you sit on the other end. The only thing I will say is the turnovers that they had at the end of the half, but they have worn on the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they have imposed their will. And they took what Minnesota does well, points in the paint. They flipped it, and they've dominated the points in the paint. So for me, I'm just impressed by the growth and maturity of this team and what Mitch Johnson has been able to do.
Hey, Wemby told us we don't have experience, but we don't care. And it's showing up. The Spurs starters have played in 56 playoff games combined. Timberwolves starters have played in 249. And I don't know if that's what you would think if you watched that first half. Still a long way to go. Yeah, still a long way to go.
Babies.
All right, time for Court Connection, presented by AT&T. Keldon Johnson here, lobbing it up. I mean, unfair.
He's just standing.
Just set me.
Yeah, just put it up there anywhere. I'll go get it.
The Spurs are up by 13 in Game 6. The half presented by AT&T continues after this. Right. Big Game 6 tonight. In Game 5, Wemby had a monster first quarter with 18 points on his way to a game-high 27 with 17 rebounds, 5 assists. The rookie, Dylan Harper, came through with 12 points and 10 rebounds off the bench. It was tied with just under 8 minutes left in the third, and the Spurs outscored Minnesota by 29 the rest of the way to take a 3-2 series lead. In Game 5 was the Spurs' second 25-point win of the series. What stood out to you in that victory, Steve?
Well, I was incredibly impressed with the Spurs guards. You know, Fox, Castle, Harper. To sum it up, they just got to their rim whenever they wanted to. Forceful downhill drives. I think it's going to be a real decision here for Minnesota. I think traditionally they like to stay home and let Rudy clean up a lot of that stuff. But in transition especially, they got to build a wall and keep these guys out of the paint. You know, if they don't, then Rudy's got to come, and guess who's following up on the glass? It's Wemby, who's got skill and feet and athleticism. So I really think they got to stop this before they get too deep, maybe even come off shooters in the half court, not allow them to get to the rim so often where then Wemby's on the glass or shooters are getting opportunities.
By the way, Dylan Harper, the first Spurs since Manu to have multiple 20-point games off the bench in a postseason, BG.
Yeah, he's been incredibly impressive. And like Steve said, all of their guards offensively are so poised and are making great decisions. But what's really impressed me is them on defense. They do such a good job of slowing down the ball, applying pressure, full court, It's interesting for such a young team and a young group of guards. They can hurt you with speed on one end, and then they can hurt you with physicality on the other end. And that's usually not a combination you're getting from a group of young guards. So I think they've been special on both ends, but defensively, I've been very, very impressed with their ability to just lock into game plans and provide that first point of attack. And then you have Wemby behind you to clean up everything else. But they definitely make his job easier with the amount of pressure they put on, and he makes their job easier.
Well, a little bit of everything went wrong for the Timberwolves in Game 5. I mean, bad start, foul trouble, not enough from Randall, from Gobert, physicality. I mean, what adjustment does Minnesota need tonight, UD?
I mean, first and foremost, to me, to be the team that have been to the conference finals back-to-back years, San Antonio seems to be the most poised and mature team in this series. When I watch the fouls and some of the fouls that McDaniels are creating, every time after the play, Naz Reid has something to say to the referee. Coach Finch about to square off with the official. Like, listen, keep the game within the game, because the game within the game is where you're getting dominated. Right now, the point paints are plus 76 for the Spurs in this series, plus 61 in fast break points in this series. Right here, Jaden McDaniels gets this shot. This is just a bad foul. Right now, at this time, it's 64-61, you're down 3. It went completely downhill after he went out the game. I understand your frustration because the Wemby impact is real. You got 41% of your points in the paint on dunks and layups last series. You're at 23% right now, so the Wemby impact is real. But what you bring to that team is too important. Anger, not managed right, is a boomerang. It's coming right back at you. So if you don't
talk to him.
Anger not managed right is a boomerang.
Writing that one down.
Yeah, if you don't manage that anger right and put that in the court and put that on your court for your team, then it's going to hurt you. And it's hurting Jaden McDaniels right now, and you're hurting your team, kid.
Yeah, you want to follow that up?
Yeah, I got nothing to say, but I think they need to get, obviously, Ant going, who is, when they trap him, can they play out of it? Can they make the right plays? Can Ant still attack downhill? They really keeping him out of the lane. And also, Julius Randle, who's averaging, 21 in the regular season, is only averaging 13, 14 this series. They're kind of taking him out. They're taking him out of his playmaking abilities, only 1.6 assists. So not only his shots are down, his percentage is down, his average opportunity of assists are down. So he needs to find a way to get in there, get in the lane, maybe finish some. If it's not there, find the shooters on the outside. So he needs to be aggressive, maybe get to some of his mid-range package. He needs a big game if they want to extend this.
Yeah. All right, Spurs and Timberwolves later. First up, though, it's Cade and the Pistons against Spida and the Cavs from Cleveland. NBA All-Prime pregame presented by CarMax continues after this.
As his 5th for Spurs 5. Whoa!
That young kid is going to be a star. Dylan Harper doing his dance, going behind the back and throwing it down. Wasn't it a question that he was going to even play this game? He looked like his dad on that highlight tape we showed earlier.
Wembanyama from the outside, ball is handed off to the basket. Wemby down the lane, rises and hammers. Castle right back to him, feeling it. Wembanyama, an unbelievable start here tonight. He's got 16 of their 24. Crossover right here, the little spin move. It's all Wemby all the time. Box around Randall. Look for Wemby.
I don't know how you guard it.
Wembanyama took on his countrymen and won the battle.
Oh, my goodness.
First one since Timmy to go 20-10 in the first half of a playoff game. Wembanyama ends with a double-double, 27 and 17, and they're one win from the Western Conference Finals.
My first series as a Spurs, man, wouldn't want it any other way, finish it out at home. Big things on the way.
On the cusp of their first playoff series win in